guys, I've been planning to relocate to Nairobi fully for the past 2 months. But the cost of living in Nairobi, Kenya in 2025, it will break you down, honestly. So I decided to do a research and journal about the cost of living in Nairobi in 2025, and I decided to share with you guys and tell you what I've decided to do. So if you're a fresh graduate, you are a student going to study in Nairobi, you are a traveler, an international traveler coming to Kenya, and you want to stay in Kenya for quite some time, maybe permanently relocating to Nairobi or temporarily relocating to Nairobi, this is the cost of living. So in case you're watching me for the first time, my name is Ethel Jessica. Kindly consider hitting that subscribe button, and in case you're returning to this amazing YouTube channel, I love you so much, and let's get into the video. The first thing that you're gonna be talking about is rent in Nairobi. The cost of, let me not talk about single room. Let's talk about a bedsitter, right? A bedsitter, what is a bedsitter? A bedsitter is something that has, it's a room in an apartment or whichever, that has the cooking area, the living room area, the bedside area, and the toilet. That is it, basically, one room that has all that in one. So, the cheapest bedsitters, they range from 5,500 or maybe 5,000 to 20,000 Kenyan shillings. It's very, it's very expensive. And for example, for someone like me who was planning to relocate to Nairobi and start living alone, I found this as a problem because, one, I need the rent. And the rent, maybe the standard rent here for a bedsitter is 7,000. 7,000, I need the deposit, yeah? So I need 14,000. The deposit is always the same as the rent. I need 14,000 upfront. Haven't talked about buying a gas, buying the furniture, buying the mattresses, buying the beddings in general, buying the utensils. Haven't put that into consideration, honestly. So I was stuck at that point. I came and also thought of the unforeseen bills that are coming in Nairobi. So I've been in Nairobi before. I stayed with my sister and I noticed this too. There are bills like electricity bills. You need to pay for the token. And the token is very expensive. Right now for 100 bob you get like 2.5 units of token. Or I don't know, KPLC keeps fluctuating. You need the token. You need to pay for the water. The water you can pay like 500 Kenyan shillings per month. And then you need to pay for the trash, trash collection. Maybe you pay like 200 Kenyan shillings per month. You need to pay for, there are some apartments that need you to pay for security. Maybe you pay like 200 bob per month. You also need to pay for internet connectivity. And maybe the internet connectivity is like 1,500 per month. That is like, network is something that most people want. So if I add that to my rent, I need a lot of money up front before, starting my life in Nairobi, and the hurdle is real. Let's now talk about places to live or location. Location is the most important thing to have in mind when you're relocating to Nairobi, because the cost of living in Nairobi will either harden you or you'll go home, honestly. You either go hard or go home. So, there are very cheap places to live, like Donholm, Kayole, Kariobangi. But you also know one thing, that if the place is very cheap, security is in your own hands. The security and infrastructure there is very poor, honestly. Two, there are middle level places such as Rongai, Ruiru, maybe. Name those places that you know that are somehow cheap. From town to Rongai, I was staying in Rongai, so I know. So from town to Rongai is 100 bob one way. So 200 bob two way. So the cheapest place you live, it means you're gonna spend a fare of between 200 and 400 bob per day, to reach town. So that you are saving on rent, but you're spending more on fare. So in Nairobi, you choose your hurdle, whether you want to spend more on rent or you want to spend more on fare. It's not like a safe or a linear, a linear place to stay like any other cities. You see, these other cities, you can just go get a house and you just enter with your first month rent and you're good to go. But when it comes to Nairobi, the deposit is a must any day, any time. Now, there are some very good places like Lavington. Of course, if you're living in Rongai, let me give you an example. If you're living in Rongai, be prepared to live with the wild animals. Rongai is more inside a park. Especially there's a place inside there called Masai Lodge, going to toilet and all that. You will see the wild animals free of charge. You don't even need to pay to see them animals. The roads there are poor. Like, there's no... The roads are very bad, honestly. The infrastructure is a mess. There's dust and all that, but it will be worth it because you're gonna get a good bedsitter, and but you'll pay a lot on rent, okay, and water. Now, there are very nice places like Ngara, South B, talk of Westlands, talk of Kasarani, talk of CBD and all that. You'll get houses at maybe a bedsitter at 20,000 Kenyan shillings, but it will be worth it, honestly. You'll pay for all the bills at a very high whatever because of the proximity to town, but it will be worth it. You'll live well, the security is catered for, you'll get water 24/7. I mean, all that. But you know, living in such places requires you to have some good money. Okay, so if I'm to jump into conclusion about the cost of living in Nairobi in 2025 is very expensive. Especially most people are going to live in bedsitters. It's very expensive. And for me, I'm planning to relocate to Nairobi because I'm staying in the village. I have no job at the moment and everything, and I'm feeling stuck. I needed to start my life again from scratch in Nairobi. But if I'm thinking about the cost and everything, I'm like, no, Ethel, you need more time. Cool down, mama. You need more time before doing this. You need God's grace before doing this. So I've been talking to my sister who stays in Rongai, and that's where it has all brought up this topic of cost of living in Nairobi in 2025. So my sister was telling me, she was telling me all these problems about the rent and everything, starting life again. And I asked my sister if she can host me for the first 2 months if I'm still trying to figure things out, and then I'll move out when I feel stable. And she told me that is the safety net here. She can host me for the first 2 months as I try job hunting again. Yeah, I'm giving job hunting that last take. And this time I just want God's grace to be before me. Okay, so in this video, I thought of doing this video because there's someone who is in my situation who is trying to figuring out how she's going to move to Nairobi. If you want very cheap places, the cheapest, you can look for them in Kayole and everything, but think of it as in terms of security will be in your own hands. Middle range places like Rongai, they're very nice, but think of it as in terms of fare. So in Nairobi, you choose your hustle. It's either the rent is too high or the transport is too high. Okay, so if you're in that situation and whatever, the best thing to do is when you're going to Nairobi, the first 3 months before you stabilize, stay with a relative. Okay, stay with a relative, honestly. It will save you a lot as you try to job hunt. You'll only be contributing for food as you put your things together, and after if you're done putting things together, then you'll be good to go and move in. I hope this video is more helpful to someone. Anyway guys, that was about today's video. So if you're watching me for the first time, please hit that subscribe button. We are on to 100 subscribers. What God cannot do doesn't exist. That is it. Okay, a moment for my subscribers. For those who have stayed for me here since day one, I love you so much. See you until the next one. Mwah! Have a good day.